sorry, I think I'm seeing an otter here. Sorry, I'm looking at a shot. Sorry, I think I've seen an otter here, Roger. My name is Michael Boyd. I'm a professional photographer. I've been a photographer for 30 years. Initially in photojournalism, working in various assignments abroad and domestically in the UK. I'm now getting more involved in wildlife photography. One of the main reasons for switching from photojournalism, press photography to wildlife is the pace. Press photography can be, I would say it's pretty much like Formula One. It's bam, bam, bam all the time. You're on the go all the time. Whereas with wildlife photography, you have to be patient. And I think with my press photography experience, it really has stood me in good stead for basically mastering that patience. Because sure, the moment you turn away, the moment you become a bit tired and lose that focus on it, it will happen. For a trip to Mull, primarily you're talking really 2 to 3 days to do that. There's a lot of preparation involved. If you're coming to Mull, that's the thing I would say, is make sure you're well prepared for it. It is Scotland, you do get rain. Travelling from Edinburgh, for talking's sake, you know, it's a beautiful drive all the way up to Oban. There are many, many places that you can stop for landscapes or stags or whatever. You can, there's many opportunities on the route from A to B before you even get on that ferry. Lots of people ask me, especially if they've never been to the island before, how do I get there? You know, what's the possibility? Is it easy to get the ferry or accommodation and things? I said, yeah, absolutely. The ferry from Oban to Craignier, do it online, book it simply, you know, turn up at the jetty, they'll sort you out, you're on there, 45 minutes, you're on the island. Couldn't be any easier, to be honest with you. There's a campsite at Mull and it's called the Sheelings, and every single time I go to Mull, that's where I stay. It's fantastic. They actually have tents set up there. They're cheap, cheerful, easy to work with. Straight in at the end of your work photographing the otters, come back, you've got access to showers and stuff like that, and it's readily available. Time-wise and preparation-wise, you have to make sure you've got the right kit with you for this type of photography. There's no point in coming to photograph otters if you're working with a 100 to 200 mm lens. You need a bit longer lens with that. I actually had a client, a lady client, out with her husband with me, out on Mull, and we were 2 days there. She got some fantastic images with I think it was a Sony bridge camera, and it was absolutely fantastic. Beanbag on the rock, that's her. She's absolutely sorted, she was calm, and that's what she looked at. I mean, I looked at her pictures, they were absolutely fantastic. Weather does play a big factor in a trip like this. If you've got the right kit on and plenty of cover on your cameras and stuff, there's no reason why you can't just get as much enjoyment out of that. There's a great deal of expectation when you come to an island to photograph otters. They are very hard to find, even harder to get into position to get the picture that you're looking for. But when you get that first, you know, contact with them, it's magical. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Photographing the otters, there are a couple of ways you can go about doing that. The main thing with any wildlife is that you have to know where they are, when they're going to be active, and obviously as well with otters, the closer you can get to them, and I mean that with their environment, so if the hole is fairly close to where you are, you know you're going to come into contact with them at some point. There are two main ways to do it. You can set up a hide on the shoreline. Pretty much there are hides there for you. You just have to crawl into them. And I've always said this, that when you're photographing wildlife, the best way to do it is to be there, but for that animal not to know that you're there, because then you're photographing it naturally. Another way that you can do it is if you're there in position and you see an otter coming down the coastline, coming towards you, then you can follow that otter. When an otter comes up and it moves, once it dives down, anything from 5 to 10 seconds, that's the short space that you have of a window to move along, to get into position. And the main thing when you're doing that is you have to think ahead. You have to look down the shoreline and think, when that otter dives down, where am I making for? You don't want to begin up and moving forward and then thinking, where am I going? You want to know the rock you're aiming for, up, down, so that when it sticks its head back up, there's nothing moving on that shoreline. Go, keeping moving. When she's under the water, she can't see me. You know, people have varied reactions when they come and photograph otters. One that really sticks in my mind was a lady that I had on the coastline here. We were working 2 days on the coastline, and eventually she'd never seen an otter, but this time we managed to get in contact with the otter, and the pictures were fantastic. She was in tears at the end of it. She had that moment on the coastline on her own. I just let her be, and she just had that tearful moment when she realised what had just happened. I'm thinking the conditions are fantastic. If there's an otter in the water, I'll see it moving. The tide is still dropping slightly, so we really want to have a bit more kelp exposed a bit, but you've still got a few hours for that to turn round. But the conditions are absolutely fantastic. Just a slight breeze, bit overcast now, but that's great. And really now it's a case of heading round the coastline and keeping our eyes peeled. Let's make our way down to this, and hopefully, if I can just get into position through this stuff, and I'll make my way onto this kelp here. These rocks can be slippy just after the tide drops, but we'll look and see. I just need a good vantage point, which I think will be there. Yeah. I've been here nearly 2 hours now. I've not seen a single thing, except I thought I saw something far off in the water. But in this part of the coastline, you can get bird life that it looks like a cormorant. It can look when it dives as if it's an otter, but I don't think that was an otter. I think I've seen an otter now. Yeah, that's definitely an otter. It's far off. It's far off, but it's coming this way. It's definitely coming this way. looking forward now, maybe 100, 120 yards, just to get a bit of cover. There's the otter coming round. He's further down, but he's coming up towards me, but I have to keep low. If this otter sees me, there's no way that I'll get a picture of this otter, but he doesn't know I'm here at the moment. He's maybe 300 yards ahead of me, but he's too busy fishing. He doesn't know I'm here at all. This morning was fantastic. Basically spending 2 to 3 hours looking for these otters on this shoreline. When she showed up in the water, trying to get concealed, hoping that she's going to come towards me and not turn around and go the other way. Making sure you're totally concealed and you're moving when she's under the water. Brilliant feeling. I think sitting on a coastline like this, especially in the conditions like this, in some respects it couldn't be any further removed from my past as a photographer in press and photojournalism. I mean, I've been to some locations in the past where it's obviously like this and I've had to work, but the pace, definitely the pace of this type of work is much different to press and photojournalism. It really is. It couldn't be any further removed. But for me personally, I think a lot of people that come in these workshops with me, they always ask, you know, what's the chances of getting otters? What's it like when I'm really there? And I said, well, the first thing you need to do is just go and do it. You know, you can describe it as much as you like, but until you're here in this environment, you know, in the otters world as such, there's no words can really describe that to me. It's quite hard to put into words, but you have to just get off your backside and do it. I can remember the time I was spent 5 days on the shoreline just round the corner on a very cold February, looking for these beautiful animals, and I saw them. They were off quite far out in the water, but I couldn't see anything close by. But as the days went on, there was nothing whatsoever. I was starting to lose the will to live, to be honest. I know it's wildlife photography, I understand that, but you know, as the days went on, it was difficult. But and then the third day, fourth day, there was nothing. I remember texting my good lady to say that I'm coming home, as I was throwing my rattle out the pram, and she said, no, give it one more day, which I decided to do, and I'm glad I did. I got up on the Friday, had some breakfast, got myself round the cameras again, and there she was, Mum and the pup on top of the big rock right in front of me. It was almost like a thank you, just to say, for lasting it out. But there you go. It's always pays to keep going with it and don't give up.